Welcome forward to star 29 of our reflections, and the three words that we're going to be using to help orientate ourselves through parts of the Our Father prayer are detachment, respectful and hope of the sick. And again, we've broken up the Our Father into a number of sections to sort of link in with the 46 stars. So the part of the Our Father we're using today is give us this day our daily bread. So again, something we're really used to hearing. And again, if you were looking at just the Our Father in isolation from those three words, we'd be looking at a different type of reflection, or different things would come out of the reflection. But using this technique of using these three words, which are more or less being randomly chosen again, we've got to look at that line in the light of the lens of those three stars, which is detachment, respectful and hope of the sick. So give us this day our daily bread. The first thing that comes to mind, again we've said this before, is the fact that obviously this is part of the Our Father, but it links back just prior to when Jesus was introducing the concept of praying in, I think, star 27, where it talks about God knows what you need before you start praying. And here we're saying, give us this day our daily bread. So clearly there was something about, again, you can look at it in terms of allegory or sort of analogically or whatever, but clearly we're asking God to give us what we need on a daily basis, and therefore he does know what we need, and therefore we're putting our trust into God in that respect. So there's a lot to think about there. But however, we've got these three words: detachment, respectful and hope of the sick. Now, in terms of linking it to hope of the sick, that's quite an interesting, or it was quite difficult to try to relate give us this day our daily bread to hope of the sick. But it does link in with the concept of patience. So God is going to give us our daily bread, what we need on a daily basis. And actually, that will help us get through any sickness that maybe we are suffering, whether it's mental or physical. So that's just reinforcing the concept of us being patient, and God gives us what we need to get through any crucifixes or crosses he gives us. So again, if it's sickness happens to be one of the crosses we're carrying at the moment, then praying the Our Father will help us get through that. And it's just about being respectful of that, being respectful of God in terms of being patient, whereas there's a link there. Now, the concept of detachment, again, that comes up in the Gospels a lot about the way we should be living. And this actually really links well with give us this day our daily bread. It's not talking about monthly or weekly or annually or yearly. It's actually just talking about on a daily basis. So rather than us attach ourselves to things, we should be detached from things and just keep, I suppose that comes up of living on a daily basis. Now again, that's being about being sensible, but it certainly highlights the fact that attachments can prevent us from living on a day-to-day basis and being happy with what we've got, because people tend to focus on what they do not have rather than what they have. And again, that could be linked in with this concept of respect, and then again, a byproduct of all of this is happiness. Therefore, maybe the only thing we need to be attached to is the concept of trying to live with what God gives us on a daily basis, and that's quite, well, it is very interesting at all. It is very interesting to think about that. So we also worry too much, I think, and this part of the Our Father is challenging us to think on a daily basis and not to worry. So again, that detachment from worry. So there's an awful lot to think about there, and I think this really highlights the using this technique of words I would never think of to use with that particular line of the Our Father has actually brought out, I suppose, new insights for me. And again, I suppose a closing thought would be, I'd like to be more attached to prayer. That's the one thing I'd love to be attached to prayer, wanting to do that, which would develop a relationship more with the Holy Trinity, Jesus, God, which will lead to an increase in faith and therefore increase in love, which will then lead to an increase of a life of service. So a lot there using this technique. So with that, I'll leave you with your reflections. God bless.